Hey, how y'all doing out there? Back at you again with another video. This time, I'd like to do a video on a old school note device and one of the Note's best-selling phones and favorite phone to a lot of people until, unfortunately, the battery incident happened. This phone here is the Note FE, meaning the fan edition, otherwise known as the Note 7. So probably a little less than a year after the Note 7 came out, of course, it had a battery issue where the battery was overheating and the phone was catching on fire. Not all the phones, but there was a portion of the phone. So Samsung initially told the people to send the phones back, and then they sent out some other phones, and then some of those overheated as well. So then they just recalled all the Note 7s. And I know from remembering watching a lot of videos that a lot of people didn't want to turn in their Note 7. So Samsung got desperate and started getting people's phone, like sending updates to make the phone not charge to 100% or slow it down. They were determined that they were going to get these phones off the market. There was a time when you couldn't even take a Note 7 on a plane for fear of it catching on fire. So unfortunately, that happened. Samsung came out with the Note 8, which was a very good phone, but it had a much smaller battery in it. When this phone was first released, not this one here, but when the Note 7 was first released, it had a 3600 milliamp battery, and it had great battery life. When they came out with this one, the Note FE, they put only a 3200 milliamp battery in there. So the battery capacity was considerably smaller. Now, I'm not sure why they decided to even put this out there after that incident anyway, but they did, and I decided to get it. Now, I didn't get a chance to purchase the Note 7 because by the time I was considering purchasing it, the situation happened with the battery. So they, wasn't selling it anymore. So some time ago, I went and got this FE because, I just wanted to check it out and see all the fuss was about, with the phone and how people just didn't want to let it go. And I decided to grab one. So I'm just going to do, I know it's, came out, this phone came out 2016. So I know it's been quite a few years, but for some people, they still love this phone. And if you still love the Note 7, you can still get it. Basically, it's just a smaller battery. Everything else is exactly the same. And there's also good news is that Samsung, which was very strange, and I'm glad they did it. They updated this phone all the way up to Android Pie. When this phone first came out, it only had Nougat, and they upgraded it to Pie, and they put the new One UI skin on top, which was great. Okay, all right, let's take a look at it. So as you can see here, Samsung Galaxy Note Fan Edition. Now, this phone has Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back. As you can see on the back, it has the one camera, which nowadays, most phones have 5, 6, 10 cameras, but this one only has one camera, 12 megapixel, f.17 aperture, and it has the heart rate monitor there. Turned over on the side, you have your power button. Down here at the bottom, you have your 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which Samsung unfortunately took it off the Note 10 Plus, which I think was ridiculous, but they did, so it is what it is. You have the USB Type-C port. You have your one down firing speaker. You have a microphone here, and you have your S Pen. On the side here, you have your power rocker up and down here. And on the top, you just have where you put your SIM card and your you can expand your storage on here as well. All right. And as you can see here, this phone came with the always on display, which is always great. I love Samsung's always on display. Sorry about that. Don't know why they got blurry like that. But see, here you got the always on display. Love this. Now, this one I use, I put a calendar on there. Just something different. But as you can see the month, you can see the time, you can see your battery percentage and the whole calendar. And then you have your notifications there. You get them at the bottom. All right. And on the front, you have a 5 megapixel camera with f point f.1.7 aperture, and something else up there too. You have your LED, and you also have your iris sensor. Now that's something that was on the Note. It first was presented, featured on this phone, the IR Blaster. I mean, not the IR Blaster. Excuse me. The iris sensor was first featured on this phone, the Note 7. Then it went to the Note 8, then to the Note 9. Unfortunately, with the Note 10 Plus, Samsung removed that because they put a fingerprint sensor underneath the display. So they took away the iris sensor. It's unfortunate because not only me, but a lot of people like that iris sensor. It was very, very secure, and it was just very convenient, and I liked it a lot. All right. So I already talked about some things that's in the phone. Just going to give you some more information. It has a 5.7-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 1440 by 2560. That's 515 pixels per square inch. And it has a ratio of 16:9, which is what, most people used at that particular time before the phones started getting taller and taller. Now you have some with the 18.9, 19.9. Like, phones are getting so big and tall now. But this one has the original 16.9 that Samsung had used for quite a while. Okay. I already mentioned Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and the back. It has HDR10 on it. This phone is IP68 water and dust resistant. This phone had the Snapdragon 820, 4 gigs of RAM. I already mentioned Android Pie with the One UI on top. This phone also comes with expandable memory up to 256 gigabytes. It has internal storage up to 64 gigabytes. Some of the camera features has LED flash, has auto HDR, panorama. It has a food mode on it, a pro mode, selective focus, slow motion, hyperlapse, and it shoots in 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second. I already talked about the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which I miss on my Note 10 Plus. One down-firing speaker, has Bluetooth 4.2, NFC, USB Type-C, iris scanner, and you have your fingerprint sensor in the front, the physical one. Now, this is the last one that Samsung used for as putting a fingerprint sensor on the front. With the Note 8, they started putting it on the back, and that was unfortunate because it was nice having that fingerprint sensor on the front. Now, as you can see, this display is still beautiful and it's gorgeous. I mean, Samsung, I don't know what it is about them, but they make some awesome, awesome displays. They make the best displays on the market by far. All right, you have a 3200 milliamp battery. You have the heart rate monitor, which I mentioned. Fast charging 2.0. Of course, Samsung had this in the Note 9, which was unfortunate. That should have definitely had faster charging than the Note 9, but it still had the 2.0. So you can basically charge this phone from 0 to 100 in about an hour and 40 minutes. This phone also comes with fast wireless charging as well. So basically what I'm saying is, with the Note 7, otherwise now known as the Note FE Fan Edition, this phone is fully loaded, and you still have all the functions of the S Pen, which I didn't even take out. Sorry about that. And you have all these functions in here. Okay? All these functions you can use at your disposal with the S Pen. S Pen is awesome. Okay? This is what separates this phone from any other phone on the market, hands down. All right. So, basically, this phone is a flagship device. It still runs very fast, very fluid. There's no lag at all. None. The speakers are still pretty loud. It's only one speaker, but it's loud. I'll give you an example of the sound of the speaker. Open up something. Say, all right. Play this.
Thanos spent a long time trying to perfect me. And when he worked, he talked about his great plan. Even disassembled, I wanted to please him. I'd ask, where would we go once his plan was complete? And his answer was always the same.
Not bad for one down-firing speaker. Not bad at all. And as you can see, the display is still beautiful. It plays great.
Thanos has a retirement plan.
Yeah.
So where is he?
When Thanos snapped his fingers, Earth became ground zero for a power surge of ridiculously cosmic proportions no one's ever seen.
So, I mean, when you're talking about just the feel in the hand too, think about this. This phone is light. It's not heavy. It's not super wide. It's very easy to hold in the hand. Now, I would not try to manage this phone without a case. You know, I'm just having trouble trying to manage it in this video because it's very, very slippery. But as long as you put a nice case on it, it'll be fine. My wife did have this phone for quite a while. I gave her the Note 8. So I upgraded her to the Note 8. So I definitely wanted this phone back because, you know, bring back some memories. And I really like this device. You know, I really do. You know, it's like the old school Note because ever since the Note 9, you know, it started changing, you know, the design of the phone. And then the Note 10 Plus is just a whole new design. Like with the Note 8, the bezel started getting a little smaller, thinner. The phone started getting taller and a little, but pretty much the same width, I would say. Even though it seemed narrower, but it wasn't. It was just taller. So you went from this 5.7, which they used on the Note, I believe the Note 3, the Note 4, the Note 5, and then with the Note 7, they used the 5.7 and kept that for a while. Then with the Note 8, they finally went to 6.3. Then with the Note 9, they went to 6.4. Now they're at 6.8. And there's basically no bezels on the Note 10 Plus. I mean, they're super thin to the point where it's almost like there's no bezels at all. And as you can see, this phone still has bezel at the top and at the bottom. But Samsung never really made big, huge, giant bezels on their phones. Now, there's other phones that have. But these bezels were, you know, actually acceptable. They weren't that huge. So if you know, still love that 16:9 aspect ratio, you want this device because it definitely has that and it'll provide you with that. Some people don't like the bigger giant phones of today. Like they don't like the size of the Note 8, the Note 9, or the Note 10 Plus. It's just too big. Or even the Note 10 at 6.3. They like the old school 5.7. That's easy enough for them. It's easier for them to navigate it in their hand. And there's nothing wrong with that. Me, I have medium to large hands, but I like big giant phones, so it doesn't matter to me. You know, I work with whatever size I have. My biggest, still largest phone is my Honor Note 10, and it's a 6.9.5 inch display, almost 7 inches. It's humongous, it's wide, and it's heavy. But that's me. But for those that prefer something smaller and easy to navigate in the hand, this is a good buy because you're getting all the features. You're getting a very loaded phone, tons of features on it, and you have the almighty S Pen. You have a good speaker, you have a great display. The processor still works very good. It's still fast, it's still fluent. Only thing I would say you're gonna miss, they're probably not gonna get any more updates for this phone. I seriously doubt it. So you won't be getting Android 10. And I'm not sure about security updates or not. But if that doesn't really matter to you that much, then you want this device. Unfortunately, for some odd reason, the phone is still a little expensive. I've seen it on Amazon for over $400. I've seen it on eBay for over $300. So I'm not really sure why this phone is so expensive still to this day, but it's still kind of pricey. But if you still like, you want that old school Note, then it's the one you want. It still beats paying 1100 for a device, so it's really not that bad when you think about it. So once again, that's just my small review of the Note 7. I never got a chance to review this phone. I still like this phone. I'll still use it here and there. And I like the fact that I basically had every single Note except the Note 1 and Note 2. Those are the only two Notes I've never owned. I did have the Note 5, but I gave that to my mom. So basically, my Note 3 was my first Note, and I really liked it. But when, of course, the Note 4 came out, I definitely wanted that because it was just a better overall device. All right, so basically, that's my review of the Note FE, otherwise known as the Note 7. Thank you for viewing this content. Like and subscribe and share this video if you like. And please come back and see me again soon. I'll talk to you soon. Be good. God bless.